And welcome to another featured quote episode. And today we have a very interesting guest indeed, Todd Dudas. And he's a copywriter, entrepreneur, and someone who wants to help people and change the world for the better with the help of God. And he's a very interesting guy. So when I asked who would like to get featured in the show, then he was very glad to be there, and like I can see from the conversations that we've had with Todd that he really has this word on with him. And then I'm not like wondering why he's a very good copywriter, but anyways, welcome to the featured quote episode, Todd.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. I'm really honored that you asked me to be a part of your show. I'm excited.
Yes, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm sure when we get the carry on with the conversation, the rest of the community will also be very excited. So yes, so maybe we can start. Tell a little bit about yourself, like wherever you want to start your story from.
Sure. I had to. I'll make a long story short from childhood. I had to grow up very fast. I had a very hard childhood. So I think by the age of 8 or 9, I had to live several lifetimes. When I come up with my autobiography, I'll probably put a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Um, you know, oh,
Okay. Let's see. I think I lost you a little bit. Okay. I think we are back now.
yeah, okay. So yeah, I was saying that I had a babysitter that used to beat me every other day,
Hmm.
drop me up the stairs, and it was a really tough childhood. At the age of 5, I didn't know if I was going to live past 5, and then I lost my grandfather figure and almost lost my mother twice, all by the age of about 7 years old, 8 years old. So I had to live very, very fast. So in the coming years, when I have kids, I'll probably be the biggest kid because I'll have to make up for those years.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So,
So
but
gotta put a positive spin on it.
yes,
Hmm.
exactly. So I like that. And I really like that you put a positive spin on that, because that those are very rough topics, like these kind of things happening. So and I can see the positive attitude on you towards, well, whatever happened, and towards life in general. So I think that's a topic
Thank you.
that many people would like to hear about. That how do you turn this kind of uh, things into humor or positivity or whatever, like empowerment. So how do you do it?
So uh, I would say that in my early 20s, I went through a bit of a bad breakup, and then I started kind of going to church more and having more of a Christian faith and relationship with God, and that has helped me a lot. Because it's almost like there's always someone that's protecting me.
Mm,
So there's that. And
yes.
in my 30s, I started studying law of attraction principles. And, after about a year of researching and studying, I'm talking like hundreds of hours of watching
Yeah.
videos and researching and looking at books and could be radio, podcasts, all these things on law of attraction. And
Yeah.
I really learned quite a few things, like the feeling of guilt actually kind of like fell away from my feelings.
Mm,
And at the age of 30, I realized that, we should actually forgive everybody. So even
yeah.
if you cannot say it face to face, if anybody's done you wrong, we have to, I think, forgive in our hearts,
Yeah.
because it's not just forgiveness isn't just for the other person. it's for ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Not everybody knows that or realizes that because, when it comes to health problems and stuff like that, and I still battle with some health issues, but when it comes to a lot of things like, feeling of guilt or feeling of, have a feeling, when you are against another person or, you haven't forgiven someone,
Mm.
uh, it's no good for your health to have that. It's like,
Yeah.
you're trapped in your own mind and you're kind of in your own bondage and it's just not very good for you.
Yeah.
So I learned to forgive everybody and move on. And with law of attraction principles, I haven't had a bad day since for probably 12 years.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I used to work in a call center where I would get
Yeah.
50
even
calls
even
a day saying,
even
"Hey, you're a piece of crap."
even more amazing. I've done that too.
It's a
And
good training. It's a really good training route
yeah,
to
it is.
learn what you're made of. That's for
Yes,
sure.
exactly. And to try to
But,
have always a good
yeah.
day, like at the end of the day, even though, of course, like in sales wise, it's not always a good day, but you can change your mind, which is like a very. I like it that you say it, that you you have been able to do it.
And, we have the choice. Are we gonna look at the glass half full? Are we gonna look at the glass half empty? And how are we utilizing our thoughts? What are we doing with our thoughts? What are we doing with our self-talk? I think the last several months, I really worked hard on my, so I think I was pretty good with mindset, growing the mindset. I read a lot and this and that, but I wasn't consistent in certain things. And
Mm,
over the last 6 months or 5 months or so, I've been reading every month, like almost every single day. I've read 5 books since November. And I also really learned to work on my self-talk because throughout my life, even since my 20s, I think I was pretty good with mindset and I was getting close to being consistent, but my self-talk wasn't where it should be.
yeah,
And by self-talk, I mean, when you're walking around by yourself, what are you thinking? What are you saying to yourself?
yeah,
Are you talking about negative things? Are you using words that, are you using words that kill or words that grow?
yeah,
So self-talk is really important too.
yeah,
So I worked a lot on that. And yeah, with God's help in life, I feel like as I get better and better and wiser, and as soon as I can maybe break through from some health issues, I think that I'll be an unstoppable human being and I'll be able to accomplish anything.
mm,
And at the same time, it's not just about me, but I like up here, I think
mm,
like multi-billionaire. And the reason is I want to be able to provide for generations to come, my family and, nieces and nephews and great grandkids and great nieces and nephews and
yeah,
so help this world because there's so many people in this world um, that are broken and they need help
yeah,
and the more money that we have, the more we can help other people.
yeah, exactly.
So,
And that's very true. And then I like that you combine these things like your faith, and then there's law of attraction, and then there is also this money, because a lot of times people who are in faith, they have this how does say, a little bit unhealthy, might be a little bit unhealthy relationship with money, because they've
mhm,
read like from scripture, like money is the root of evil and all these things, and then they make these conclusions about it, that I shouldn't be making money and it's evil. So
mhm,
and I'm actually right now in one of the workshops where this guy is like teaching this, that that there is ways that you can use money, like the evil people use money actually on creating conflicts and wars and all these, but it doesn't mean that if you have money and you are working with good values, with you're like a Christian, and all these values that you want to help people, then you can actually bless people with the money. Then
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you have for some of those people who might have those, like, they are in faith, but then they feel this kind of conflict with money and prosperity and all these things?
I think it's just, even as a kid growing up, sometimes you hear, a family or relatives say things, and a lot of that comes from programming when you're a kid too,
Mm,
because they don't feel, maybe they only focus on the negative side, right?
mm,
But actually, when I was a young guy, I spent time in Kelowna, which is a very beautiful place in the same province I'm in. They have one of the best ski resorts too. They never run out of snow.
yeah,
Whistlers sometimes run out of snow. They have to
yeah,
bring in fake snow, which is funny. I know it sounds funny, but in this area, it's in the mountains, and they never ever run out of snow. And it's a beautiful place, apparently, the ski resort. But I actually met a Christian man that used to go to the church with his family, and it was extremely wealthy guy, and, he owned a big construction company, and you know what? He was the nicest man, one of the nicest guys I met. He was
yeah,
so helpful and so kind and so giving, and he's the type that would, give the shirt off of his back for somebody else if they need it.
yeah,
Or if you come to town and, you don't have anywhere to go for the night, he would gladly put you up in this place.
mm,
And, so I think a lot of things are negative programming
yeah,
and getting things wrong. Like, of course, if you are, let's say that you are, a compulsive gambler, and you go and you take your money that you made,
mm,
you're supposed to pay for your mortgage, you're supposed
yeah,
to pay for your kids' school, you're
yeah,
supposed to pay for your wife's college course, and
yeah,
you go and you take that and you gamble it away.
yeah,
That's of course a negative use of being able to have it and lose it.
yeah,
But if you are, if you have the right values, you can do a lot of great things. You can create, you can make schools, you can create online courses, you can help what do they call micro and macro loans for these people that are in second and third world countries where you
yeah,
basically, $100 isn't much to us, but
yeah,
50 to $100 to them is a lot, and they
yeah,
could do a lot with their clothing business, or when they're on the side of the road and they have like a little thing that they're selling some products. If
yeah.
you're able to fund those and help them, I mean, there's so many things that we can do to help people with money,
Exactly, exactly.
so
I definitely agree with that. When we start stacking these things together, like I can do this, I can do this. Like for example, currently I'm paying myself with my wife to this like what they call it grandchild on Cambodia, because my wife is from Cambodia, but this organization called World Vision also works in Cambodia. So we send like,
Our Vision, I know, yeah, they're a great organization from
yeah,
what I understand.
yeah. So we pay like $30 per month, and then we get to support this child and like a part of the community. But we also get letters from the grandchild, and we can send letters for them. And now you can send them like virtually, even videos. So that makes you feel so like no amount of $30 makes you feel better than that. Than the seeing that, hey, we are able to help somebody with this small amount of money, and for them it's like a big thing, and then this organization can keep helping these people who really need the help.
Yeah. There was a man that he had a YouTube video series. I can't remember his name, to be honest. But he would travel and he would put himself in a position that was actually pretty scary, because he would go to these areas where they just had civil war. They just had, all these people just fled from another country,
Yeah,
and they're almost homeless. But he was just amazing because he had a follow, like maybe 1 million followers. So he just put up a link where you can donate. So for example, there's like all these people in Sudan, and some of them didn't have enough food. Some of them have babies, and the babies don't have enough food.
Yeah,
So, for $10 that you give, you can get all these different things to provide them with food that, and to them, like you said, it's like priceless to them. It's $10 or $20 that you spend does
yeah,
so much for them. And it's just very little to us, but it means the world to them, you know?
exactly. Exactly. So there is some perspective. Imagine what you can do with $1 billion. So the more money
Mhm.
you make. I also like the way Tony Robbins said it. If you know him, if you ever followed him, but
Oh, big time. Yeah, I love Tony Robbins.
yeah, he said that money doesn't make you either good or evil. It makes you more of what you already are.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah. I noticed that, yeah.
yeah, that's good. And I really wish you a lot of luck in your endeavors. And yes, we actually go then to the topic
Mhm.
because you about copywriting. So
Hmm.
how did you come up with this idea to start like in doing copywriting?
Well, I think since I was a kid, I was pretty good at writing. And so maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I saw these videos on copywriting, and it's very popular right now, as you know.
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandmother wants to be a copywriter.
Yeah.
So, but I did some courses and stuff, and I spent a lot of money. But I noticed at the end, they didn't really have much guidance to help you.
Mm,
Kinda like, "Okay, you can go do this, you can go do this, blah, blah, blah." And I was a little bit frustrated and down on myself. But then after about a year or so, I kinda got over it, and I thought, if I just get, like, some proper mentorship, like a mentor, someone to guide me a little bit, where
yeah.
if I'm doing some writing, they can critique my writing
Yeah.
before I send it out to, clients. That would be really great, and if I can find that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think around October or November-ish, I met this young gentleman from a small town in New York online, and, just a wonderful human being, a really nice young guy, very, very caring, wants to help a lot of people by coaching them. And, so I did his program, and, I already got a client out of it, and I got some prospects, and, it's a really good program that he teaches, and he's very honest as well. What I appreciate is being able to work with or for, people that are good, honest people.
Yeah.
So, in other words, there's all these, courses out there that say, "Oh, join this program, and I'll show you how to make 5,000 or 10,000 per month."
Mm,
Right? And that's fine. Making that amount is great. I can't wait to make that amount.
mm,
But you have to scale it properly. You have to
mm.
start off small and then
Yeah.
work your way. So maybe 300 in email, or 700 in email, and
Yeah.
then 1,000 after you get 10 or 20 testimonials and several months of work, or 6 to 12 months of work. You have lots
Yeah.
of clients. Then you can go, 1,500, 2,000.
Yeah.
Emails would be what I would specialize in, email marketing, and also things like social media. The client that I worked for before I finished the program, he needed his website to be edited. So I edited all the copy, like all the words on the website. So basically, any online business that it could be a startup company, it could be a coach that's getting his business going, any online business. I can craft an email for them, or a sequence of emails, 3 to 4 emails, where I send them out, and I craft them carefully to be able to attract more clients to that person, or more profits to that company.
Yeah.
So that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah. I think that's very smart.
But it's
And
exciting. I like doing it.
yeah, and I also like what I also like is what you said. This. because it seems like the internet is full of these six-figure this and seven-figure that in 3 weeks. And like you
Yeah.
mentioned, the reality is that you need all these foundations like list and you need to have a good message and offer and all these things. Whereas like sometimes it can be a little bit misleading for people and
Yeah.
to join the program and then get like overwhelmed because I've met a lot of people who have spent a lot of money in programs and then they get like overwhelmed and then they like ask me that can you just help me to make the first steps like in social media and these things and it came to me also clear that some people just might get overwhelmed with all the six-figure this seven-figure that in 3 months. Yeah, so and I like
Yeah.
the way that you described it because it's in my opinion it's more honest honest way to put it, and also
Yeah.
the importance of copywriting. It's very important because people actually buy the words, and a lot of people in this community are coaches and entrepreneurs, and the reality is that the words are the like most important aspect at the end of the day in the website and in sales pages and emails and all these. So and thank you for sharing that backstory um, on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
and
I was a kid, I'll just, a little bit more. When I was a child, I I used to get in trouble a lot because I was a bit of a damaged kid. I had problems at home, and
mm,
I went through a lot of I probably should have gone through counseling. But anyway, I was 7 years old, and I was sitting in my, grade 1 class. I don't know what you call it in Europe, but it's my grade 1 in grade school, and, I was having problems, because nobody went over anything with me at home, so I had to try and learn myself, and I was having problems, and so by the end of the year, because my mom, had a talk with the teacher, and the teacher said, "Hey, the kid needs help. You need to do more with him." So my mom would read to me every day, multiple times. She would go over, like, printing with me every day, and then eventually I became a very good avid reader and, enjoyed books, later on in life. But, so I'm sitting in class one day, and, we're supposed to create a story for our, English, class, and, the teacher said, "Okay." It was around Easter time. So I'm sitting there and my mind is blank. I kid you not, my mind is blank. I couldn't think of anything. My
yeah.
pencil is down sitting there. I pick it up, I write my name, I put the pencil back down, and I'm like, what am I gonna print about? Oh my gosh. And then funny, oddly enough, my mom, even though she went over a lot of stuff with me about printing and stories, sometimes my dad would sit down with me and do storytelling with me. So the storytelling and then the reading of the books as a kid, that kinda got me really, uh, the stuff that came out of me became a good writer. So I was sitting there in my class, and all of a sudden I pick up the pencil, I had an idea, and it's almost like I was channeling because I was just doing the story with my thought, and then I just kept going. It kept flowing. And then later on, the funny thing is the teachers, they shared it with the principal, they shared it with, other teachers, and they're all, like, talking and whispering, and I thought, "Why are they whispering? Why are they talking?" You know? And then they phoned my father, just after he finished work, and the
Yeah.
first response my dad had was, "What did he do now?
Yeah. So he
What's
used
he in
it.
trouble for now? Is he
Yeah.
in trouble again?" Oh, that crazy kid.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't tell him what it was until he came to this. So they told him that I created such an incredible and imaginative storytelling, creation, story that they were gonna put it on the principal's, outside the principal's office on the wall and pin it on the wall,
Yeah.
and that it was, like, one of the best stories they've ever read, better than, like, 13-year-olds and better than 10-year-olds, and I'm here and I'm a 7-year-old kid that had problems just recently at
Yeah.
school, but I just started creative, all this stuff, and, so, years later, I look back at that and I thought, I think I can have a gift of writing. I'd
Yeah.
like to write novels and books and do some, self-help books and online courses, whether it be, law of attraction or helping people get through challenges,
Yeah.
or, one thing I've had in my heart and my mind is fixing marriages. There's so many marriages that I don't know about in Europe so much, but in North America, the divorce rate is almost 70%.
Yeah.
And it's very, very sad, and the kids are the ones that have to be they feel the worst out of it. So
Mm.
I'd love to be able to make a difference and create an online course at some point, maybe a year from now or so, or 8 months or a year from now, where I can use some knowledge to be able to help couples
Yeah.
get their love back and get their
Yeah.
connection back so they can save their families. That's
Yeah.
something I have on my heart too. But anyway, long story short, that
Yeah.
was about my writing history when I was a kid.
Yeah, and a very, very exciting story indeed. So you kind of like tapped into this some kind of internal power. So in my opinion, it must be some kind of God-given talent. And
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah, and like sometimes people feel lost in life, and then they have troubles in life and all these, and then when they find like, hey, I was just like misaligned. I wasn't doing the things that I'm supposed to do. I wasn't serving the people that I was supposed to serve. I wasn't tapping into my
Yeah.
God-given talent, and then it can really be a game changer for many people. And sadly, like many people might be lost for their whole life, and I think that's where the people like you come along. And let's say that there is this person who is a little bit lost, and then you see, let's see how this law of attraction and all other things helped you, and then I believe that can be very, very, very powerful. And the way that you put your words, it's that
No, thank you.
yes, yes, and it can really help somebody who is like, because I know a lot of people who are like very good coaches, but they can't, like, they have a heart of service, and but the heart just doesn't go into the paper. It doesn't go into a
Yeah.
written form of text, which is sad in my opinion, because people deserve to see the heart that is in there. And
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people that don't know. And it's funny because, when you're a kid, like, especially in North America, you're a kid and you're taught, go to school, get good grades, and get a good career and all this. And there's a stat I saw from a book that I wanted to buy soon. And it's about the US, colleges and universities. And over 41% of people that have graduated with like a bachelor's degree or some sort of a degree, and I'm talking about the United States specifically, over 41% aren't able to get a career in what they spent tens of thousands of dollars
mm,
go and get for the piece of paper. They might have
yeah,
spent 50 grand. They got this big piece of paper at home, and they have to go and flip burgers, and then go to
yeah,
another restaurant, go
mm,
clean the go clean the mall for janitorial. I mean, it's also a tough if you I
yeah.
think you need to learn a skill. Everybody should learn a skill or multiple skills to help one another.
Yeah, that's very sad. I've heard that too, and now on top of that, they're like whatever cleaning places, but they also have this bill of, a loan of 50,000, 100 grand, or something even more, which is it's
Oh,
very sad. It's very sad. Mm, mm. And I believe that that's also where the strength in America it has been, like the education. And maybe maybe it is so, like Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins say that self-education is the new norm, because this
mm,
all thing has happened that people have all these huge loans and they don't even get a job for the things they studied for. So so yeah, so you are correct there, and people need like specific knowledge, and also this, like many schools in Finland, we have a very good school, like I think one of the top in the world, and
Oh,
also,
wow.
yes, and also we don't have to pay that kind of amount of money for it. A lot of people actually come here, the universities from other countries. Like now, one of my friend is thinking
Oh,
about sending
wow.
their child into Finland to study the university. But also in here,
Cool.
like many schools are like, if let's say that you go to study marketing, for example, and many I know people who have studied it and they don't have those huge loans, but they still feel like, well, I didn't really learn what I was thinking to learn because the world is changing so much, and digital marketing, all these things, like it's not a year from now, it might be something very different than it's today, which is, I think, the challenge the schools to keep up with in many topics.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've heard that about Denmark too, where Denmark, from what I understand, I used to work with somebody in the call center and he was born in Denmark. And he said that they actually, government pays for everything, not just your schooling, but your college, university down there. Everything is taken care of. And there's so many people that get their post secondary education because they don't have to, fork out thousands of dollars of their own money to do it. So
Mm,
that's pretty cool.
it is. It is cool, and it is a good thing. But I do believe like the self education really has room in all over the world, and we
Yeah.
see, like you mentioned, we were talking about these troubles that are in the world. I believe that collectively we can really help people in
Yeah.
because you also have so huge story of what everything you have overcame, and I think a lot to share that people really can't find anywhere else. They can find maybe the things like you was learning this copywriting, and you was learning things and the strategies and these, but you wasn't really learning the details there. Like you needed a
Yeah.
mentor, somebody who really be there with you. So
I think a lot of these things, really the best thing to do is to get someone that, like a mentor that can help train because, I know quite a few people that they spent, like you said, they spent all this money on courses, and after a year they have nothing to show for it. They didn't get any
yeah.
clients. They didn't get any help because you need someone that's, kinda like been there before, and odds are that person that's already been there, they had a mentor too, and then that
Mm.
person had a mentor, and that
Yeah.
person had a mentor. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's
I
so
think it's a good
true.
idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like success leaves clues, like Tony Robbins said.
Yeah. But yeah, there's, a lot of things that need to be fixed in this world, so I think it'd be pretty cool to do something for, like, an online course to be able to help couples, because, the breakdown of the family is a very sad, extremely sad thing, um, I've seen some, I used to watch a lot of TV as a kid growing up, and, you see these TV shows where the family breaks up, and then the mom or the dad, one of the 2, they take the kid aside or the kids, and they're like, "You know what, Johnny? Now you can have 2 homes. You can have a home with dad for
Mm.
3 days a week, and you have a home with mom for the rest of the week. Isn't that great?" And I'm thinking, "How is that great? What are you talking about? Are you
Yeah,
crazy?"
exactly.
And then the kids, of course, 9 times out of 10, the kid will blame themselves and say,
Mm,
Was it something that I did that destroyed mom and dad's relationship?" And then
mm,
as they grow up, they have an unhealthy relationship. And then
yeah.
the chain keeps going, which is, it
Yeah.
needs to be, um,
You're
solid. The chain needs to
you're
be put back.
you're very correct there. Like 70% of marriages ending up in divorce. It's way too high. We should have
What's
something
it like
like,
in Finland? Is it
I
high
think
in Finland?
I think it's pretty close to those numbers. And it's very sad because, like you
Um,
mentioned, it goes to the kids, and the kids think typically that I have done something wrong because they are kids, they think that way, and you cannot help it. And also the thing that I do voluntary work. I'm building a podcast with a mental health organization in Finland, and I'm doing a lot of these things, and I'm talking to a lot of people who have like severe level of mental health issues and addictions, and there is basically no case that who has these severe issues who it didn't start from somewhere way back from the childhood. So
but
usually it's like that's most of the time. Okay, I haven't met anybody for whom it
wow.
didn't start, from somewhere from the childhood. And like you mentioned, the more we can help families, first of all, stay together and be healthy. Not only stay together and fight all the time, but be healthy in the home, and see the
Yeah.
kids, and kids see that they showing a positive example, and life's not all sunshine and rainbows, but we can still have a good day every day for the rest of our life, and we just decided we have our
If you
motto.
have family that are there for you, you can get through anything if you have, God's help and your family and good friends. I saw one of those commercials a while back, and it was funny because they went back to like 20 years before, and the family, so there's a husband, the wife, 2 kids, and they're all talking while they're eating dinner at the dinner table. And flash forward to nowadays, mom is on her cell phone,
Yeah,
dad is on his cell phone,
yeah,
the one kid's on his cell phone, and little, 10-year-old girl, she's on her cell phone.
mm,
Nobody's talking, nobody's
yeah.
communicating. I mean, it's just mind-blowing, man. I just, can't fathom that. When I have my kids in the future, no cell phones at the dinner table.
If you're yes, if you're lucky, they might end up into each other's face, like social media feed, and like their post.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just crazy. Nobody communicates anymore, and the more that people can. Like I live in Vancouver, and it's one of the most expensive places in the world now. Like just to go get three peppers.
Mm.
If you don't like some places, you can get a bag of 4 peppers for $3, but in
Oh,
some places it's like $2 for a green pepper.
oh my.
$2, one green pepper.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
those big oranges,
yeah,
$2.50 for 1
yeah. For
orange.
one, oh no.
Like,
Yeah,
unbelievable. So,
yeah.
so you got the wife working 2 jobs, you
Mm,
got the husband, the dad, he's working a job or 2, and then so they're always dressing up to go to work. They come home, they just dress down, wear jogging.
mm,
They never
yeah,
spend time together. And then,
yeah,
of course, the kids have to be raised by the school or by the
yeah,
nanny or by
yeah.
somebody
Exactly.
watching them. That's
Yeah.
also a problem.
Nobody has a time to raise their kids anymore, let alone spend time together, like quality time together. And of course, like money. It's also a topic, good topic, that how much of the fighting and the divorces is also like how much the money is affecting it. If people are stressed all the time, working
Probably
all the time.
90% at
Mm,
least.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Stressed all the time and working all the time, and you're working all the time and you still don't have enough money, and you would like to send your kids to a better school so that they wouldn't have to have like this 50,000 or 100 grand of loan for a job they will ever even go to work for, but you don't have it even though you work in 2 jobs, which is unfair in
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you said, I think it's a real lack mentality. And you could work 3 jobs and still not come out ahead because what you're doing is you're doing, the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing and you're expecting some different
Mm,
result, but it's
yeah,
not gonna happen unless you change up here
Yeah.
and here,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And that's a very good thing in this community, like people who, I don't know, maybe somebody who's listening to this right now and they feel bad.
I
Well, I am struggling and I having this, I'm working these things and I don't have money for anything. So, but as long as you have hope for better and you can see that you can change your mindset and there will be a better future, then then it will be good. And can you tell us some actually mindset tips about the law of attraction? You mentioned a little bit, but maybe in some more detail. How do you use it in, or I guess I will ask a specific question. How do you do it that you don't have a bad day? How
okay. So, I have, something that I've kinda learned from, a friend taught me a little bit, and then, you can actually go on YouTube and learn some of it, but there's even practitioners that practice this, and from what I understand, the history of it, probably about, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago or 30 years ago, when people started practicing this one thing, it's called EFT,
Mm,
Emotional Freedom Technique. And, like, for example, people that have come back from, Afghanistan or, the war, and they have a lot of, PTSD,
mm,
post-traumatic stress syndrome.
mm,
They can't sleep. They have to, stay up all night and then flicker the lights in the kitchen like 10,000 times, or they have all these weird things that they're doing because they have so much fear. That's another thing. Fear really, really trumps most people, I think. But
mm.
anyway, yeah, team technique really helped change my life as well. Because what it is, let's say that you are in the call center.
Yeah.
You got 20 calls in a row. You're a
Uh,
jerk. I hate you. It's your fault. I'm gonna get a divorce. I owe too much money. Why do I have to pay you? And you got all these crazy people calling you. 99% of people aren't gonna be able to just continue and leave it. They're gonna go like, "This is stressful, man. What do I do?" So what I would do is I would put the phone on mute, and I would take a washroom break. So I would go into the washroom and I would do my emotional freedom technique. So, it's just a bunch of tapping, like, on your, what in, Hindu culture they call it chakras.
Yeah.
So you do certain tapping on certain points of your head and then, different areas. And once again, a person could look on YouTube and just put in EFT or emotional freedom technique,
Yeah.
and, once you use this technique, I kid you not, within seconds, you can get a state change.
Yeah.
So you can go from really, upset to a little bit better. You do
Yeah.
another round, a little bit better. Another couple rounds, a little bit better, a little bit better, and it moves up gradually to the point where you're just back to the even stage.
Yeah.
And so I've been using this also for the last, probably the last 10, 11 years, and it's incredible because it really, really helps.
Yeah.
If I have a bad start to the day or the ending of my day is bad, I'll do a round. I'll even sit there on transit and
Mm.
do this, and people are probably looking at me like, "What's this guy doing?"
Yeah. And
I
it's
don't care what people think. It's for me.
yeah, and yes, very good advice indeed. And people can seek for it from YouTube, like EFT tapping, and just in short, because I have also done it. So is it like it's kind of like done that you raise, like you tap these points, and then you basically like raise awareness to the emotions that you're feeling, and then you like gently, slightly let them go, or
Yeah. So while you're doing the tapping, you also speak to yourself, and, usually, you'll repeat 3 times as you're tapping, "I completely and utterly love and respect myself." And then if you're feeling crappy, you might say, "Even though I feel like putting my fist through the wall,
yeah.
I completely and utterly love and respect myself.
Yeah.
Even though I feel this way, I completely and utterly love and respect myself, whatever,
Yeah.
however
Yeah.
you're doing it. So, that's a big thing. And affirmations also, like if somebody wants to really, work on their self-talk,
Mm.
I think probably 9% of people don't use self-talk very good.
Yeah.
If they complain too much or upset, that's no good for the vibration. So if you wanna attract good things, you have to be, able to in a position where you can receive it. If you're in a grumpy mood, you're not gonna be able to receive it. So
Yeah.
you could get like, index cards that have the lines. Those index cards, you can get them at like the dollar store or office supply store, and you can write down certain affirmations. And then maybe for 10 or 15 minutes a day, when you wake up, you can take 10 or 15 minutes to say these affirmations and then also do some visualizing techniques for another 10 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Visualization is also really, really good for you. If you
Yeah.
want to get something, then visualize what you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's very good. And like most, I feel like so many people don't even how do you feel like is many people even aware of the self talk, because you mentioned it was a big thing for you when you was able to like
Mm.
improve your self talk.
I think most people have no idea
Yeah.
because it's hard. You have to put yourself in a position where you can sort of self-analyze. And
Mm.
most people probably have no idea. But when I was researching and studying law of attraction, I sort of started doing that just naturally. And then I would just kind of catch myself, like if I'm sitting there and if you might let's say you spill your drink or you spill the milk all over the floor. The first thing is someone's going to be like, oh,
Yeah,
or they
exactly.
get frustrated.
Yeah.
Even something like that small, you can just kind of, as you're about to get the thought, just redirect the thought and then change it. And that way you don't have to be, because if you that could for some people, that's the start of their day, and they keep going frustrated, frustrated, frustrated. It gets worse and
Yeah.
worse and worse unless they have some tools to use to put a stop to it,
I
right?
think that's a good point. And actually, because you mentioned about the call center, I believe that everybody should do a call center or some job where they get rejected all the time. So in that way, they realize that, hey, if this keeps happening like all day, then it's about my state. So the first 10 or 20 calls that nothing is happening, you might have a bad luck. But if it keeps happening all the time, then you might see that, hey, I need to make a reset. Like you mentioned, you did the
Yeah.
EFT, and then you might actually even catch yourself in a position that, hey, I'm running in these negative thoughts inside myself, which can be like the same thing in your family. Like your spouse says something, and you get triggered immediately and like you mentioned about these families, which can, like, I believe these techniques can really help families as well when they realize
Yeah.
that they've been married for 5-10 years or more, and then they see it's not like
Well,
uh,
for example, if you were to take a couple, and let's say that they're about to get a separation, and then you sit down with the husband first, and then you try and analyze, so how long have you been married? Let's say they say 6 years, okay, but how long has it been difficult, right? Oh, the last 12 months have been difficult because this major thing happened, and then this happened, and then it seems like it drew us apart. So, okay, so there you go. You found the reason why you guys went off kilter. So what you need to do is you need to visualize and start thinking of your wife like you did before that. How are things before that? Oh, things were great. We loved each other. We would go on date night every weekend. So you need to do that. You need to go back to that point where you are changing your mindset and how you feel about her because she's the love of your life. You
yeah,
you stood in to God that and said that till death do us part, right? That's not
Mhm.
just a few years, that's for the rest of your life, right?
Until
You have a family, you have a kid together.
yeah,
So do that. And then of course I would sit down with the wife, same thing. Where did things go wrong? What do you think of your husband right now? How do you feel about things? And let's go back to where you were before things went wrong. And then let's, work together. Right.
yeah,
I mean, I'm
that's
not saying I'm a marriage counselor or anything like that, but I'm just saying that there's so many things, like you said, with mindset, with law of attraction principles, with different things that you can use to
yeah.
really, really recreate your life and get it back on track.
And I have definitely met people who have met marriage counselor for months or years and nothing helped, and then they met someone else who had gone to something similar challenge and was able to help them. So,
Yeah.
I'm not downplaying here marriage counselors. Please, no, this doesn't mean it. So it's very helpful for many people, of
It
course.
could work for a lot of people. That's right.
Mm, mm. But anyways, that is a very good topic, and sometimes I like to ask that, if something like people are fighting all the time, so what happened so that the love of your life became your biggest enemy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that when you are able to analyze things like that, I've noticed too, like and I'm not saying that this happens in every relationship, but sometimes maybe there's a relationship where somebody close to both of them, maybe a family relative passes away, and then one of them doesn't know how to cope with it, and then they shut out their partner, right? They
Mm,
just shut them out because they don't want to feel like a burden. But then if you shut out the other person with no communication for this week, it could lead to next week, and then next week, and then it's gonna become a problem. So,
yeah,
communication is so, so, so very important.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's very important. And what would you say for somebody who is like maybe watching this right now? We meant a little bit of the topic of copywriting, but that's fine for me because
Mhm.
I believe you have so many principles that work for people, and also maybe somebody who is an entrepreneur now and things like, why are we talking about marriage and this? Because if it affects your business,
Sorry,
it
I went
affects
off on a
everything.
tangent a little bit there.
Yeah. So what's the first of all? It affects like other areas of your life affect other areas as well. And then what's the point of your business really if your relationships are are a mess? Like what is the benefit of it? So what would you say for somebody who maybe has been like maybe feels like their partner has like kind of doesn't talk to them anymore and they kind of lack of connection and feels like even like I hate him or I hate her or maybe it just feels like a lack of connection. Then what would be the best place to start?
That's a tough one. I mean, it could be, there could be a few different quite a few different things that you could say, but, I think sitting down with the partner and telling them, how they feel, and then the other person listens. Sometimes us men, we always wanna go in and fix it. We
Yeah,
wanna be Mr. Fix It, and that's our problem, right? That's
yeah,
right, that's why we're from Mars and
yeah,
they're from Venus.
yeah, exactly.
But,
Yeah,
so it depends on the couple, I think, but communication is very important. And then reestablishing things like date nights. When was the last time the couple actually got to go out and just relax and have fun together, right? You could
yeah,
go to, like here in the summertime, we have this thing called the P&E, and it's like a fair. And so people, you can go like on rides and stuff like that. And you can go on like a ride, let's say like a Ferris wheel. You can go play games together. You can go bumper cars, these types of things, because that's really fun. So you need to, I think, communicate with each other, tell each other how you're feeling, and then try and go back to where it used to be. And you need to try and have some fun times together, right? Enjoy each other, date nights and stuff like that. I think that would help.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. And really do like the way you talk, because I can see this from this conversation also, like we're okay, maybe in the business community right now here, but you're talking about family, which tells everything, in my opinion, that for you, your values go this way, that family is more important than the business, like the bottom line, like
yeah,
you do it for the family, and
yeah.
also
That's my why. I'd say my biggest why, if you were to ask me, my biggest why is so that I want to build this copywriting business and scale it to a point where it's a big business. And my my soon to be wife, she's overseas in Nigeria. She is also very creative at writing, and she likes to read. We have a lot of things in common, so we can create a really nice, incredible family business together, and do different things together. And then one day maybe we could have our grown-up kids involved, or niece and nephews as they grow up and they can join the family business. But I would say my biggest why right now is her. Because since I was a kid, I wanted to have, a big family one day. So
yeah.
she's my biggest why. And then, of course, maybe retiring my parents would be really great. So yeah, family would be my biggest why I'm doing copywriting, why I be an entrepreneur and help other people so I can help my family.
And it's also good for people to know who are maybe, I don't know, thinking about looking for a copywriter. And I know that most coaches feel totally overwhelmed with the copywriting. And I know people who take those courses and they get like stuck and overwhelmed because you wear these zillion different hats. Like most coaches, they wanted to become a coach and help people. And then now they are like a copywriter and web developer and an accountant and and a marketer. And then they
So
kind
many
of,
things.
yeah, exactly. So if you feel like you're not a copywriter, it might be a good idea to outsource it, in my opinion. And also, it's good to know that one thing is technique, like in life in general. One thing is technique, but let's say that you're writing a written text, then it's good to know that in the text, the people here like the technique and all those things, and but they also hear the heart of the writer. So don't
Mm,
forget about
Gotcha.
that.
Yeah, that's true. I think writing with passion is important. And one thing that I it's my job as a copywriter is to help the client, of course, get more business and profits, but to be able to um, have the best voice. So if I have a client and I have to basically relay their message, so what are the usually with copywriting, the biggest thing you're trying to solve is the problems.
Mm.
So what is the main problem that this client has to getting customers? And, whoever, it could be a coach, it could be a startup company. What is their biggest pain point? And my job is to help solve that through my writing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's very good. And it's good to remember also for the people that the pe that you cannot like a coach can only help the people if they buy. With your
Yeah,
writing,
that's right.
they buy, and
Yeah.
then they're if they don't buy the course or the coaching, then nobody's being helped in that situation. So in my opinion, that's a win all. That's definitely a win all situation. And but then I have one tough question, and then we will
Mhm.
be okay. One tough question, and then I have something you can have some more about your heart, because you have been sharing very much of your heart, which is like very good
Oh,
in my
thank you. I
opinion.
appreciate
So
Thank you, man. I appreciate
great. And then, but I must say that when we're talking about copywriting, and like
Mhm.
right now, we cannot like, because I know the audience who is watching this, you cannot like how would I say, not ask these questions about AI. Like everybody's talking about AI and it writes
Mm.
things and all this. So what would you say about that, about the AI and the future, and how would you, could you advise somebody who might be just, I don't know, or how do you see it? What is the benefit of having a copywriter, even though there is AI software that write this and that? So what would be the benefit of still having like a professional copywriter writing the copy?
I think there's a few ways to answer that. First of all, I think AI technology, there's a lot of good things about it. Like I have a friend that does, he has his own marketing business and also he goes to college and he showed me one of the, what is it,
Yeah,
chat
it's that.
BT or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah. And for university students, it's quite an amazing thing, right? To be able to just put that in there and all of a sudden all these words come up.
yeah,
And I know I've heard of some copywriters as well that they will do their copywriting and they'll combine it with some of the AI.
yeah,
And also, you got to remember too, is as great as technology is, you can't replace a human being's feelings.
yeah,
You can't replace a relationship that you have with a client
yeah.
just by a robot. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
like I've heard of other people that in 1 year they made two or $300,000 with copywriting, even though AI was so big and it's
Yeah,
doing all these things. So
yeah,
there's still opportunity out there because you know um, companies are spending something like I think by 2024 they're going to be spending something like $526 billion on copywriting, marketing, that
yeah,
whole umbrella industry.
yeah,
So there's some, not 99% of clients are going to be taken by AI.
yeah,
Some might go that route, but I think that, like I said, you can't replace relationships
yeah.
between human beings, and you can't replace the feelings that you
Yes,
would get in the writing. So I
exactly.
would say it like that.
I definitely agree with you. You cannot, a computer can do a lot of things, but you can never replace a heart.
And if it does run,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I ran the other way, my friend.
Well, that's a good thing about the robot. It never ends. But
I've
anyways,
seen Terminator too many times.
yeah, me too. It feels scary, man, because it seems like we're living those times. In some way,
Yeah, but
yeah,
I think it's just like one step at a time. I think as human beings, we're evolving too, and we need to try different things. But also, the best computer in the world is our mind. Our
yeah,
brain is the biggest best computer that has ever existed created by God. So I would say that too.
yeah. If anybody thinks like AI is really amazing, it's actually, um, they have made these like investigations of how much more developed actually human mind is. It's like mind-boggling how much more developed our brain is than any computer, any AI, any
Yeah,
computer.
yeah, that's right.
So we really are the highest form of creation.
That's right. Yeah. Depends on how we're gonna use it. What are we gonna do with it?
Yeah, exactly. That's very important. And I'm very glad that you brought your values and all these things uh, into this conversation, because I think that's the most important thing after all. And what what would be your, let's say that if this video went viral, you or already wished me actually before that this has millions of views. So if that would happen, then what would we, what would your message be for the audience?
I guess it depends. If it's for copywriting, I would, tell them about my service, about how well I can craft the email to get them clients and customers. If it's about the future of the world or relationships, relationships, I think, are one of the most important things that we have as human beings. And especially during COVID, a lot of people lost hope, and a lot of people gained more fear. And I think fear is something that, if you break down the letters, false evidence appearing real is what
Yeah.
fear is.
Yes.
So we need to be able to, if we have any, I mean, everybody's going to have a little something. Like, I'm not big on heights sometimes, but I'm talking about like fear that is impacting you in a way where you cannot live the best version of yourself because of these fears. So those types of things, I think you need to, as human beings, we need to find a way to break through them,
Yeah.
with mindset, with, faith in God or whatever your belief is, and all these things. There's a lot of ways to do that. And so you always have to have hope that things are going to get better. Because if you don't, do you want things to be glass half full or glass half empty? Which
Mm.
future do you want? Do you want the one that you can visualize, the great future for your family and future generations? Or do you want to, visualize apocalyptic, you know, like a video game or movie style,
Yeah.
apocalyptic style stuff? So I think hope, everybody has to have hope and try and work on being the best version of yourself every day.
Well, that's a very good place to end with this. Try to be the best version of yourself every day. Yes.
And thank you so much. I'm very honored that you asked me and had me on your podcast. You're such a cool dude, and one of these days when come to Hungary, I'll have to make a stop by in Finland. We'll have to hang out somewhere.
Welcome. Welcome. I will get you in a lunch or something or dinner. So whenever you come, so just send me a message and we will come. And I actually, because I'm now doing this online coaching thing, I have a lot of friends in United States, so I have a room there now from all around America. I can combine the two things.
Cool.
I have also wanted to go around like a road trip in through the Americas. So now I have people all around it.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. The
Yeah.
beauty of being having online business is if you have a internet connection and a laptop, you can go anywhere.
And then we were talking about technology actually. Then I believe in future that technology might even be like very like even semi-realistic that we're actually in the same room when we're having these podcast interviews one day. Then we have a
Oh,
recap then and and we get audience to watch like a live audience in a virtual reality or something. I don't know there, but anyways, yeah. Thank you very much for visiting, Todd. The pleasure is completely mine.
honored, my friend.
Yes, and that's very cool. And then if people want to know more about you, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, they can go to my Facebook, Todd Dudas. Um, and I have my copywriting on there, but I usually use Facebook mostly.
Great. So Facebook would be the channel.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I will also place the link for your profile and tag you in the post when I place this one in the community and go and contact Todd. He's a really great dude. So even with the short conversations that I've had with him, I can still really feel he's a great guy and especially with great values. So that's very great thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toma. It's been an honor.
Thank you. It's my honor. So thank you very much.
Take it easy, my friend. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Yes. Bye.